So now we're going to set up the camera and the ability to take control of our player ball. Before we do that though, it's been brought to my attention that I made a mistake. If you go into Visual Studio, we created this item mesh. This shouldn't be item mesh. It's not an item. This isn't the item. This is the player ball. So we need to change this instead of item mesh, something else. I'm going to show you a trick. Instead of going through and changing these manually, the trick here is if you just right click the variable name, click rename, you can change the name of it to something else and it will change the symbol. So all of the other things will get that in your name. So I'll call this one player ball mesh. Click apply. Player ball mesh. And, oh, there we go. Player ball mesh. It changed it for us. We only had 3 instances of that written out, but when you get to, a really long project file, it can be really handy to be able to just do that and change the name of something. All right, so we need to make a camera. How do we do that? Well, funny you should ask. We're going to basically do the same thing we've been doing. Similar things. We're going to need to make a variable that will hold a camera and something called a spring arm component. I'm going to show you what that is first. So if I go to my player ball and look at this, I can add in a spring arm. And the spring arm is basically like a selfie stick. Regardless of how the ball rotates or moves or looks or whatever, it's going to be at that specific location. It's going to point to that location. It just kind of sticks out. And if I added here at the end of it a camera, now anywhere that my ball rotates, the camera will rotate at a set distance. We could just set the camera and child it to the mesh, and then from there be able to change some settings with it, like how far away it is, but we don't get access to some functionality that's built into the spring arm thing. I'm going to go ahead and delete that spring arm there and the camera, because we're not going to do it in here. We're going to do it in C++. Back in our code, we're going to need to include a new include statement, except I don't want to do that here. This is actually bad form. Technically speaking, you can, and in some cases should, put your include statements in your header file. However, this is not as performative as doing something called forward declaration. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So the first thing I want to do here is I'm going to make another new UProperty. I'm going to take this UProperty visible anywhere. I'm going to copy and paste this down here because I want to make a new variable. It's going to be a U spring arm component star. It's going to be called camera boom. Like a boom arm, keeps it a certain distance away. And this is going to throw an error. This is undefined. We could do an include statement up here. Instead, we're going to do something called forward declaration, where above U class, we're just going to write in class and then U spring arm component. This is the way of getting the compiler just to shut up and leave us alone for a little bit, because we're going to include the include statement elsewhere where we will need it, just we don't want to include it here. Instead, where we want to include it is inside of the source file, the body file. Here underneath our PlayerBall.h, we'll do the include, and it's going to be a game framework / spring arm component.h. Capitalization is important here again. We'll save that and save both of them. In fact, while we're at it, let's go ahead and just take these include statements for our sphere and static mesh. Let's cut those out and paste those here. And instead, forward declare these. So I'll do class U sphere component, then class U static mesh component. That just makes the compiler shut up and leave us alone so we can actually like get to work. Okay. Then for the camera boom, we need to attach that. So we'll go here underneath our PlayerBall mesh where we created that. And we're going to do camera boom. It's going to be equal to, you guessed it, CreateDefaultSubobject of type uSpringArmComponent. It's going to be called camera boom. And here we're going to set up attachments. So we'll do camera boom equals, or nope, not equals. It's going to be the arrow setup attachment, and we want to attach it to get root component. This is just a way of getting the current root component, because the root component might change. But this is going to say, hey, whatever the current root component is, we're going to get that, and we'll attach our camera boom to that. We'll save that, and then we're going to do the same thing for a camera. For the forward declaration for class, uCamera component, and it's going to be visible anywhere. Copy and paste this, and we'll take the uCamera components, paste that here. It's going to be of type uCamera component, and it's going to be the follow camera. Save that. Then we again do the same thing. So going to copy and paste camera boom, and it's going to be called what we call follow camera. It's going to be of type uCamera component. And the name is going to be camera. Throwing an error. That's because I'm not including the include statement that I need. So I'll do hashtag include. Quotation marks, and it's going to be a, what is it? Camera / camera component.h. There we go. We just did a lot there. But if we go ahead and go to Unreal and we compile, we now have a camera that is following the player on top of the player. We need to actually set the distance that the camera is at. We need to, by doing that, we set the length of the camera boom. And here we do this. So under camera boom, make a new line. We'll do camera boom, then the arrow, target arm length. We'll set it equal to 500.0f. Save this and recompile. And there we go. Our camera boom is now longer, but oh, wait, no. This isn't nested right. This is not parented right. Oh, made a mistake. So the follow camera shouldn't be attached to the root. It shouldn't be attached to the camera boom. My apology. And I'm going to save that. And I'm actually going to close Unreal and do a full recompile because we've been kind of done a lot here. Every once in a while, it's just good just to do a full recompile. All right, let's open up PlayerBall and let's see. We now have a camera boom that is 500 units away. And the follow camera is set up to follow where the camera boom is. And this is really going to be useful because instances where maybe the back is to a wall or an object, the camera will move forward, push forward. So it will always stay, as far away as it can up to that point. So we get extra functionality here. And we'll actually change some of the settings for how the camera follows a little bit later. Now if we press play, we're not controlling the player ball. We don't have a player ball. We have it there, but we're not controlling it. So fix that. I'm going to take the camera ball that's here, delete it. And then I'm going to go to my window world settings, game mode override. We're going to create a new blueprint for a new game mode, the blueprint folder. And we'll call it BP_game mode. We now have our custom game mode. And then I will go to selected game mode and set my default pawn class to be BP player ball. And press play. I am now in control of that player ball. Player ball can't move, but I'm in control of it. Next thing we're going to want to do, last thing for this video, is we're going to want to set the physics for the sphere collision to be on. So I'm going to select sphere collision, scroll down until I see physics, and I'm going to turn on simulate physics. And I'll set the mass to like 50. We'll change these later, but I just want to set it to something. And then for my collision presets, change this to on. Pile and save. Press play. There we go. If I take my player start, I'm going to raise that up above the ground so you can kind of see it in action. I now have my player starting and it falls. By default, or wherever your player start was at, there's a chance that your player ball will end up like spawning underground almost. Which is obviously not great. So we're going to need to raise that up, and we'll fix a couple of things that prevent that from happening a little bit later. And that's going to be it for this video. Thanks.